Just the other day, I was advising the senior who was still not confident in their communication skills, their positioning skills, how they approach stakeholders. In their words, they weren't really effective and confident in their messaging, or they felt like they're perceived as lesser value add than they really were. And the challenge here is obviously small, but also very large. For one, it's just because of a social pressure, just because of something which we've dealt for millennia, something which is really fear of rejection, fear of looking stupid, fear of being ostracized or shunned away from the community, from the team, thinking that maybe you're gonna appear not good enough, not gonna be taken seriously, but ultimately it's gonna be that fear of rejection, right? That's probably a preface to the tools, because you kind of need to realize that it's ridiculous, because likely you're there for a reason. They got you as a UXer because they needed that specific help. Already have way more trust than any other person. You're already part of a community. You're never gonna be shunned away or rejected or lose your position. In fact, it would take you so long to lose trust. It's never just sharply cut and it's done and you're gone. It takes a lot of effort, especially if you keep things professional, if you contribute value, if you actually come prepared and do UX as you're supposed to do. And the rest is really the social variables which you need to prepare. And it's really important preface, because the tools are going to make you proactive, but what you need to sort out is also the underlying thinking. They're very simple, but we're really hacking your own system and your own thinking so that you can make better decisions and just feel more confident. And then let it snowball ultimately, because these values develop over time. The more confident you act, the more you stress the variables around you, the more you understand that you can act even more confident within means, obviously. So, tool number one, it's ability to step aside. For example, I read this book, an amazing book, you should pick it up, called Chatter. I read it for different reasons. The book itself is basically a toolkit and a lot of use cases and a lot of stories of people not being able to switch off at night. Because we all have those days when you just have a lot of chatter in your head and you just can't doze off, or it haunts you. You go by your day and that war conflict or a drama or some sort of inefficiency just chase you and you cannot shake it off. Happens to all of us, right? That book is about that. You might ask, well, what does that have to do with confidence? Ability to shake off the chatter or that second voice which is haunting you about something and you just don't want to think about it but just comes back, is exactly the same tool which you can apply to become confident. Because the voice could be anxious, could be self-limiting. That voice keeps you where you're at, less confident, maybe less creative because you're thinking about BS and things which you shouldn't be thinking about and cannot open your mind. And ultimately that tool is ability to observe yourself from a side. This is super important as well for critical thinking development in UX, for designers, product managers, you name it. You need to be able to reflect on the past experiences and extract yourself, which is always, hindsight is 20/20. That's easy. If you reflect, review your past experiences every day, you can correct course and do better next time. But the more you do this, the better you get in situ. So if you're less confident in, let's say, a forum, a meeting, a call, you need to dissociate yourself and look at the situation from a side. And how you do that practically is really think about yourself in a third-person perspective and think less about how you feel right now, how anxious you are. Observe the actual team, observe yourself within a team. That's the easiest way for you to become immediately confident or stop the chatter, anxiety, things of that nature. There is a lot of psychological elements to it. I'm not even gonna cover that. That's not my forte, but what I can give you is really what works, and it's really to be able to dissociate yourself from the situation so that you can make better decisions. I already covered that in other videos about how to give yourself advice, let's say, if you are stuck or overwhelmed or things of that nature. It works exactly the same way. You can pull yourself back and tell yourself like you are a third person to do better or to do some other things, minus all the variables and the noise and surrounding clouds of signals which might overwhelm you. So that's tool number one. You need to start practicing that because it's going to make you a more effective designer in situations which require confidence. That's usually stakeholder workshops, interviews, perhaps team meetings, perhaps some sort of ideations, things of that nature, you name it. But that's ultimately a start of that. And a big one is asking questions. This is like a no-brainer, and you probably heard about this before, that if you're unsure how to contribute, and if you feel like you're bored or maybe losing attention, or you don't feel like you can contribute with some value, well, you can ask questions. You should ask actually stupid questions, to correct myself. Why stupid? Because that's how you invite others to invite you to contribute. You don't have to be brash or bold. You don't have to make a statement which might flutter the feathers. You can actually engage with other people like a human being and ask them to explain something, or ask them why is that, or ask them where are you coming from, or asking for some sort of information so that the exchange starts. Not speaking up or being quiet also could appear like it's confident, but chances are you want to speak up, you want to contribute. That's why you're chasing confidence in UX. But the principal statement here is also that your stupid questions shouldn't be lazy. And you might have heard the statement, stupid, not lazy. Lazy is a question you have shooting from the hip, something you could find the answer to yourself. This is like the key. If you can find the answer somewhere else or read something up before the session, great. You're gonna feel more confident immediately. If you can avoid being lazy in any other way, Google something, research something quickly, spend 5 minutes and know just a bit more so that your stupid questions are more informed, or you could find some information which can build up upon and get more information from other people. You're immediately gonna engage and have more respect. Because it's not just about asking. It's not just about, screaming or shouting or kind of saying, hey, I have something to contribute to. It has to be meaningful. And as such, as long as you're not lazy, you can be stupid, you can appear that way. And what I would love for people to do, obviously, is to find the answer themselves, or at least get to the answer close enough so that they can have situations, they can have context, they can have variables and say this or that. And then you can say maybe that. Now, in work situations, in meetings, in forums, in ideation sections, workshops, this comes invaluable. Because if you know that your tool number 2 is going to be to ask questions, you can then prepare better questions or come prepared to the meeting, which is tool number 3. Preparation is going to be key. I don't want to be redundant now with this tool, because I already explained that you shouldn't be lazy and you should come with something or try to find your answers before you ask those questions. But generally speaking, even if you don't come with questions, maybe it's a meeting which doesn't really require your contribution, you still should come prepared. You still should seek an agenda. You should call out and ask people arranging the meeting what's going to be on a menu. If it's your meeting, you should create an agenda and say, this is the things I want to discuss in it, and maybe share it on Slack or maybe share it as part of invite. But that's also builds confidence, because you don't have to flutter or bounce like a ping pong ball across a room trying to find something to contribute or try to find somehow to engage, especially if you feel less confident or shy. And as you prepare, you're going to have more data points, more signals, more of the things which is going to, again, make you more situationally savvy, aware. You're going to be more grounded, composed. You're going to have something, again, to contribute. But the practice is going to be key. You're not going to be confident immediately, but the more you do, the more your winner effect, which is also a great book by Ian Robertson, how small things add up and accumulate. And the more you win, the more confident you are, let's say, the more confident you're going to be, and you're going to be able to tackle bigger and more uncertain challenges in the end. And you're going to become more and more confident in the situational awareness, critical thinking, how you engage with the stakeholders, and things of that nature. And as usual, I hope this is useful. If so, share it with a friend. And on that note, I'll see you next time.